All right, thanks, Clayton. And Clayton has been a busy man today here. So the F-35 demo is about ready to hit the air, but before we get to that, we're actually going to bring in Mr. Dennis D'Angelo. He's the executive director at the Air Force Sustainment Center right here at Tinker Air Force Base. Sir, how are you?
I'm phenomenal. It's a great day, it's beautiful weather, and it's a great air show, of course.
Yeah, how have you been enjoying it so far?
I've had 2 days of it, and that's not enough.
Oh, wow, we love to hear that.
I've got my 20,000 steps in to go everywhere. I've visited everybody that's out on the ramp. I've seen all the airplanes because I'm a big airplane nut.
Yeah.
And I've also made a couple trips to the STEM City, which I think is extremely important. One of the reasons why we opened the base up was indeed to show people what we do and how we use STEM to advance our ability to maintain and retain aircraft. So we've got a lot of great stuff happening. I want to make a pitch out to all my maintainers who are out there working hard every day. We thank you for everything, because the airplane that's about to take off that you can see on the split screen is one that we work with.
I figured we would just let the sound of freedom take that for a second.
That's absolutely true. And what I was going to say is, over in STEM City, the T for STEM stands for technology, and that is also where the artisans kind of get their piece as well. So they are part of that T, and they are out there in force today showing off their wares and how they actually maintain the aircraft that are worked on or designed by the engineers. So we're very fortunate to have them here.
Yeah, General Hawkins was with us yesterday, and, you know, it's so passionate about the mission, fun to talk to, and, you know, he really was so complimentary of the workforce, because that's really important in a place like Tinker where there is a large civilian population. Real quickly, I know we probably want to get out and watch this F-35, but there's a lot of opportunities for folks who might want to work at Tinker, but they don't want to wear the uniform. There's a lot of opportunity to do so.
There's absolutely. I mean, not only at Tinker, but throughout all the organization, the AFCA organization, we got 42,000 people. 32,000 of them, or 35,000 of them, are actually civilians. So there's great opportunities for them to come out and actually participate, and you can do great things for your nation as a patriot, because and you can help that airplane fly as a patriot, and you don't have to be in uniform. You can be dressed like we are right today.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really great about a place like Tinker. It truly is a total force concept.
Absolutely.
And so, sir, I know you probably want to get out there and watch the F-35, because I have a feeling with as many passes as Major Wolf is going to make here, I don't know how good we're going to be able to talk. It's going to be loud.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say a few things before we transition, if you don't mind.
No.
I just want to thank all the sponsors who put this together. I would like to thank the 72nd Air Base Wing for putting this all together. It's not an easy task. It's a difficult thing. We'll probably made some mistakes. We'll fix them in about 2 years. I thank you all for being out here and helping us get the message out. But for all the folks who are out there who are watching this now or will see it later on, please come and be part of our team. We need you more than ever before. And don't underestimate your impact to the mission by your proximity to the fight. Maybe we're 5,000 miles from the fight. But what we do today will keep that airplane making noise far into the future.
That definitely felt a lot closer than 5,000 miles. So. So that was Mr. Dennis D'Angelo, the Executive Director at the Air Force Sustainment Center. Sir, we appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time. Thanks, everybody. Keep them flying.
All right, let's send it out to Airshow Central and Rob Ryder.
In a dogfight, combat maneuverability is crucial. The Lightning II's advanced flight controls combined with its powerful engine gives the F-35 an impressive 1,500-foot turn radius. As Major Wolf approaches Show Center, she will light the afterburner and bank sharply, pressing her in the seat with up to 9 Gs or 9 times the force of gravity. After completing the turn, the F-35 will power straight up into a vertical climb and quickly change direction, flipping end over end in a maneuver we call the Lightning Loop. From the right, the combat radius turn. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Wolf has begun to reposition in preparation for the dedication pass. Major Wolf and the rest of the F-35 demonstration team from the 388th Fighter Wing wish to dedicate this pass to the men and women from all branches of the armed forces and their families who are so bravely fighting today's joint fight. We would also like to remember our wounded warriors and veterans in attendance and those who have given their lives defending this great nation. This will be your best photo opportunity, so get your cameras ready to capture this salute. Now, from over your left shoulder, the F-35 demonstration team proudly presents the dedication pass. Major Wolf will now demonstrate the Lightning II's crisp agility and handling. Notice that as she makes her approach, she is in the inverted position and will continue inverted as she flies across the aerobatic container. Coming in from the right, Major Wolf performing the inverted pass. The F-35 possesses the incredible ability to point its nose at will in a dogfight. Watch closely as the jet climbs more than a mile into the vertical and completes the lightning loop. And then while under complete control and without thrust vectoring, Major Wolf will execute a full 360-degree flat turn. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lightning II pedal turn. Watch now as Major Wolf flies across the aerobatic container and traces a square in the sky. Coming in from the right, the F-35 performing the unique square loop. The ability to maintain slow-speed flight is crucial in combat. The potent combination of sophisticated flight controls coupled with the most powerful fighter engine ever built make it possible to reduce the F-35 speed to less than 100 knots. Coming in from your left, Major Wolf will demonstrate the F-35's slow-speed capability. And then just as she approaches show center, you will once again feel the raw power of the engine as she lights the afterburner and accelerates the aircraft into a near vertical climb. Don't look away yet. As Major Wolf reaches the peak of her climb, she'll go inverted and reposition the aircraft by performing a split S. As she returns to show center, she will then accelerate rapidly and snap the F-35 through a series of aileron rolls to demonstrate the Lightning II's impressive roll maneuverability. Dropping in from the right, Major Wolf executing opposing rolls. As the most technologically advanced fighter aircraft in the world, the F-35's flight controls give our pilots a distinct advantage to outmaneuver their opponents. As Major Wolf approaches show center, she will complete more than 135 degrees of heading change in 3 seconds, slide the tail of the F-35 through the turn, and powerfully climb out of the maneuver. Closing in from the left, ladies and gentlemen,
all of its power. And so we are going to toss it out to Clayton to show us a little bit more of the inside of the F-35 engine. Let's take a look.
Dozens of men and women are hard at work here at the F-135 Heavy Maintenance Center. They're working to get this engine, one of 16 maintained at Tinker, back on an F-35 and back in the sky.
When the engine comes in, it goes to core disassembly. Core disassembly will then break it down into the individual modules to be disassembled, inspected, and repaired.
Inspection and repairs are critical. As high-tech and complex as fighter jets are, even the slightest imperfection could mean the difference between life or death.
You could have anything from a small piece of paper that is inside this engine that could cause a detrimental factor to it. The smallest thing could cause a plane to go down with this engine. So that's why we tear this engine completely apart and inspect everything to make sure that the pilot is able to go home to his family at the end of the day.
Before being returned to service, engines are fired up at this specialized testing facility across base. Test cells allow mechanics an up-close and personal look at the engine's performance, even at its peak. No aircraft needed.
We try to find everything as possible to keep any type of pilot safe while they're in the air, because we don't want anything happening to them.
There is, no doubt, a lot on the line, but what mechanics get out of the work here is priceless.
Knowing that you have a part in building something, doing maintenance on something that is all over the world, that is protecting your country, that is protecting you as a citizen outside the Air Force. It's a lot of pride in that.
At Tinker Air Force Base, I'm Clayton Cummins.
Back here at Broadcast Central. Thanks, Clayton. We certainly appreciate that. And that's a great segue to our next guest, Colonel Sam Payne. He's the Vice Director of the 448th Supply Chain Management Wing right here at Tinker. Sir, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks, Dan and McKenna. It's great to be here with you guys.
Obviously, day 2 of this air show, so we've just seen the F-35 flying by. What do they call that, the sound of freedom?
That is definitely the sound of freedom.
and of course, the engines inside of that F-35 help provide that sound, obviously. But tell us a little bit about what the 448th does here at Tinker.
So, Dan, the 448th is responsible for wholesale supply chain of the different weapon systems. So we do mostly reparables. So some of those parts on that airplane you can replace and repair a couple of times. And so some of our teammates here at Tinker actually maintain those parts. And so we are managing that whole supply chain to make sure that we have parts on the shelf for the maintainers to make sure that those engines can do what they're doing out here today.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about the span of the unit, because just from what I was reading, it's a little more advanced than I maybe initially gave it credit for.
Yeah, so, Dan, we have you think supply chain, you think parts runners, so we have a lot of item managers and those kind of folks, but we also have security managers, we also have engineers and all those kind of folks that make the whole mission come to fruition. I mean, and including our financial management specialists who make sure that our working capital fund has the money that we need to put those parts on the shelf.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what initially inspired you to join.
So, McKenna, originally it was an air show like this. So originally from Columbus, Ohio. My dad took me out to an air show at Dayton, out at Wright Pat, and saw these airplanes flying around. I originally wanted to be an aeronautical engineer.
Okay.
Went to the academy and ended up doing the logistics readiness side of the business, doing parts, distribution, and those kind of different things. So cool
these
career.
air shows definitely make an impact. We've had multiple guests today that have had that same story of they went to an air show when they were a kid. It stuck with them and inspired them, and now we've been able to talk with them today and see them like in uniform, So
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So as we look at, as you see the aircraft still out there, that's the F-35, and also I believe that's an F-5 that's flying with the F-35 out there right now. But when you look at what your unit does, how do you fit into the overall big picture for the Air Force?
Yeah, so the interesting thing when you look at as we call them, legacy aircraft and the new aircraft that are coming on board. It's a huge supply chain. So trying to make sure you have parts on the legacy airflames that everybody's kind of getting out of that business and going into the F-35s of the world and those kind of things. I think we talked about the wedge tail earlier. Going into these new weapon systems, we got to ask our partners, our vendors, to include all the different industry partners. Hey, we need to maintain those legacy guys too. So as the wholesale logistics side of the business, we're making sure that we can support on parts both the legacy and the future fighters and mission partners of our Air Force.
Another common theme that's been kind of coming up here at the air show is opportunities that exist in organizations for not just blue suit Air Force folks who are in uniform, but also civilians. Can you talk to that?
Agreed. So we have about 3,000 folks in the 448. Only 50 of those are military members. So
wow.
The preponderance of our workforce are civilian patriots that are out here doing the mission on a day-to-day basis. So when we're talking about recruiting, a lot of times we're talking about the civilians that you're seeing here. We're talking about some of those folks that are coming out of Rose State that we can get in to be parts managers for us, to be financial managers for us, and do all those different missions that we have in the 448. So, yeah, we're looking at everyone when we talk recruiting.
Well, Colonel Sam Payne from the 448th Supply Chain Management Wing, we appreciate your time today. Thank you for what you do for the nation and what you do here locally in the community as well. So thank you.
Appreciate the time. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, McKenna.
All right, let's send it back out to Air Show Central and Rob Ryder.
Tommy Williams is coming in from the left for his final pass of the air show with the high-speed pass. Get ready, everybody. We've got your favorite, Major Wolf with the inverted pass. And the crowd goes wild. Yeah, he was buzzing out of here. I guess he's got somewhere to be.
I think he does. That was so cool.
We've got one last pass from Major Wolf. Maybe your second favorite, the tactical pitch. Let's give it up for Major Wolf and your United States Air Force F-35 demo team. If you enjoyed today's performance, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at F-35 Demo Team. and tag us in all your social media posts at hashtag F35DemoTeam. It's been a pleasure, Tinker. We'll see you next time, and it's back to you, John. I mean, Rob.
Yeah, that'll work. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your F-35A Lightning II demonstration team. Pretty cool stuff. Way to go. The whole team. Joshua, that's funny. You got even on that. Do I still owe you $5? No, I owe you $22, right? 22 or 35. Okay. We'll handle it. Oh, my goodness. That is so fun. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to be welcoming a couple of aircraft representing the Women's Air Force Service pilots. The aircraft taking the sky right now are representative from the National WASP World War II Museum in Sweetwater, Texas. Those aircraft.
Keeping on with the theme here today of STEM Takes Flight, Clayton got to check out some really cool technology that helps maintainers see issues that are not visible to the naked eye. Let's check it out.
Engineer Nick Wandro wastes no time slipping on a set of gloves. It's the first step in a process known as NDI, or a non-destructive inspection.
It is a series of 7 different technologies where we go out to the airplanes and we look for cracks, corrosion, or other sorts of damage without tearing the airplane apart.
Today, Nick is using a special fluorescent dye looking for cracks in this screw from a plane.
That's going to be what the cracks are looking like.
Dye and a black light makes even the smallest deficiency look blatantly obvious.
There's another one right there.
Keeping airmen safe in the sky is just one perk of the job. It comes with plenty of others, too.
You'll be sitting on the wing of a B-52 for your day, and that's your office for the day if you're an inspector. Or you might be working in the weapons bay of a B-1. It's really fascinating stuff. It's really fun to see.
NDI has been around at Tinker for decades now. The industry shows no signs of slowing down.
Knowing that you are having a direct impact on the mission is very rewarding. In addition to that, it's a ton of fun.
At Tinker Air Force Base, I'm Clayton Cummins.
Thanks so much for that, Clayton. We are going to send it back out to the airshow narrator, Rob Ryder.
Is World War II Museum pilot Brian Lang, the museum's newest pilot. He's an engineer in Fort Worth. He grew up in an aviation family. He learned to fly and maintain legacy aircraft at an early age, and he appreciates using his skills to promote the legacy of the Women's Air Force Service pilots, or WASP. National WASP World War II Museum pilot David Townsend is flying the aircraft in front of us now. The basic trainer, BT-13. He's the museum's BT-13 manager and senior BT-13 pilot. He works in the defense industry near Fort Worth. That aircraft, number 55, is a 1942 Vultee BT-13, known as the Valiant and nicknamed the Vibrator. Officially named the Valiant, most typical military humor gave it that Vibrator name. Almost all American aviators trained during World War II, both the Army and the Navy, flew this type of aircraft during their training. There were 3 phases of training in World War II: primary, basic, and advanced. Those 3 phases of training would take a cadet through the most basic type of aircraft, like a Stearman biplane with no electrical system and only a Gosport or a rubber tube and a funnel for the instructor to shout into to the student pilot in the front seat, who had the other end of that rubber tube split and fed into both ears of his flying helmet. One-way communication only. Then the basic trainer came up, the BT-13, with more complex systems, a propeller that could be changed in the cockpit from one angle to another for takeoff settings and then cruise settings, more complex systems, a radio, an intercom. This is the BT-13. And then, should the pilot not wash out in either the first or second phase of flight, the cadet would move into advanced training in the AT-6 Texan. The Navy called it the SNJ, but it was the last aircraft that a pilot would see before earning his wings. Doug Rosendahl heading home in the Tuskegee Airmen red-tailed P-51, known as By Request. The Women's Air Force Service pilots did non-combatant flying, and they trained to the same standards as their male counterparts in World War II. They would fly not only fighters or cargo or transport aircraft, but bombers as well, from the point of manufacture to other bases where the male pilots would then take them into combat. But they faced the same dangers in training as did the men. The number of deaths in training in World War II in the United States military was a staggering 13,000 deaths. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in a nice round of applause for the Women's Air Force Service Pilots demonstration. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the roll. We're looking for another T-6 Texan. There it is, directly in front of us. Listen to this engine spool up. .600 horsepower. as Jeff pulls the gear handle and brings it up so he can get on with his display. Jeff Shetterly went to the United States Military Academy at West Point. He was trained and served as a platoon tank commander. But aviation was in his blood since he was a kid. He comes from an aviation family. His mom and dad are flight instructors. His dad flies aerobatic displays at air shows. His brother, Joe Shetterly, was the United States Air Force's A-10 demonstration pilot a number of years back, and the family has flown together on a number of shows. They call themselves the Shetterly Squadron. What you're going to see today is a demonstration of the capabilities of a great pilot flying an airplane that weighs 5,500 pounds and can be a real handful. The radial rumble is what he calls it. In the years since our radial rumble performer has become an instrument-rated pilot, a commercial pilot, a certified flight instructor with experience in over 100 different types of aircraft. He also earned his airline transport pilot certificate, and he flies for Spirit Airlines from the left and high with the smoke coming on and the nose coming down, rolling the aircraft to the right, diving down and picking up speeds of 200 miles per hour. It's time for the radial rumble. Rolling inverted and holding it there with no inverted fuel and oil system. Watch him. He'll roll it upright just before it runs The North American Texan was that advanced trainer in which tens of thousands of Allied pilots earned their wings, flown not only by the United States military, but the Royal Canadian Air Force and the Royal Air Force, who called it the Harvard. It was indeed an institution of higher learning. Nearly 30 Allied nations flew Texans or versions of them. The Royal Australian Air Force did some modifications to it, put a 3-bladed prop on it, made it a little bit longer, but it was still basically a Texan. Feet of the ground, pulls the stick back into his lap, and he goes into the super slow roll. It is said that if you can do a super slow roll well, you can do almost any aerobatic maneuver, and he did it. Make some noise so we can hear you in the cockpit, folks. Give it up for Jeff Shetterly. And he'll be rolling off. And we want to say a huge thank you to Jeff Shetterly. We were hoping this was originally scheduled to fly this weekend was Adam Baker from here, originally from Oklahoma. But his mother was very ill, and he had to cancel. And Jeff Shetterly came in last minute and to fill that spot, and we're grateful that he did. One more final round of applause for Jeff Shetterly. Down at the extreme left-hand side of the aircraft, of the airport, you can see the huge tail of the C-17 as it taxis into position. Aboard are the members of the Wings of Blue parachute team, headed back to Colorado Springs in the Air Force Academy, where they will continue their studies and earning their commissions in the United States Air Force. We saw it fly earlier, reminding you again, it's a big airplane. Maximum gross weight 585,000 pounds. The wingspan 169 feet 10 inches. It's 174 feet long. The winglets on the ends of the wingtips are 9 feet high. You just about shoot hoops. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch and listen for the C-17 on the left. The Civil Air Patrol is the official auxiliary of the United States Air Force, made up of a volunteer group of 55,000 senior members and cadets from all over the country, and they are doing a photo mission. Our Air Boss, George Klein, is now looking off to the left to see him inbound. They're going to do some pictures. So if you're sitting next to somebody you don't want to be seen with, this would be a good time to move. The Civil Air Patrol is involved in search and rescue. If an aircraft emergency locator, transmitter, or beacon goes off, the Air Force Rescue Coordination Center in Virginia will, if necessary, call up a mission for the volunteers of the Civil Air Patrol air crews, senior members, to go look for that signal to try to find out if it's an errant signal or if, in fact, it is an aircraft that has crashed and is in distress. If an aircraft is overdue for a certain amount of time, sometimes Civil Air Patrol air crews will be called into action to look along the route of the aircraft that is missing to see if it turns up or has landed. Cadet programs include aerospace education and a chance to see how the Air Force works and possibly choose a career in the United States Air Force.
Back here at Broadcast Central, Dan Hawkins, McKenna Gott, we are just about ready for the Blue Angels, the demonstration team from the United States Navy. Of course, the headline act, but it's been a lot of fun all weekend long.
Yeah, Dan, it has been a pleasure hosting the air show with you. It's been a great time.
Yeah, the Navy Blue Angels in their 77th season, getting ready to take off and capping this final day of the 2023 Tinker Air Show, where STEM takes flight. I guess being your first air show broadcast, have you taken anything away?
I have learned so much throughout this experience. It's been awesome to be able to talk about what's happening, talk with you, learn from all the guests, to watch the air show. It's been pretty nerve-wracking being on live here, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, and so the Blue Angels will lead off with Fat Albert. That is a C-130J Super Hercules, and it's a pretty cool ground demo, and then that plane will take off, and then, of course, the FA-18 Hornets that they've flown for 36 years will take to the sky and wow the crowd one last time here in Oklahoma City. And when you come back out of that show, McKenna will close it out with Colonel Sebring from the 72nd Air Base Wing. So it's been a pleasure to be here with you guys all weekend long at the Tinker Air Show. So without further ado, we'll send it back out to Air Show Central with Rob Ryder.
We've got a few more minutes before the Blue Angels start. If you need to make a pit stop or put some more sunscreen on, this is the time to do it. They'll be taking every blade of grass and every molecule of air in just a few minutes, straight up at 3 o'clock.
With it being such a technical aircraft with the radar and everything, it doesn't take a lot for things to go wrong. So we get a lot of jets coming back that are broke, and we send our guys out to go fix them.
The biggest challenge is that technology is always evolving, and so we kind of have to refine our approach to fix certain issues or find the most efficient way or consult the engineers for a better fix. We're pretty creative with the way we approach those things.
No, it honestly takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get these jets going. They're going on 50 years old, some of them. Some of them are converted airliners. Getting parts is hard. We make do with a lot of things that we have on hand.
Me and Metal Stack have to work together to create new parts and alongside with supplies which provide us with the metal and hardware we need to replace and build these parts.
Older engines are more prone to break, therefore they require a lot of troubleshooting, and it's mostly all mechanical, not a whole lot of electrical, so we can't just hook something up and get our answer from there. We actually have to go through and troubleshoot.
So by us maintaining the jet and fixing all components in it, troubleshooting and making sure everything's functioning right, it just helps everything go smoothly.
When I was a kid, I really enjoyed airplanes. I lived under the flight path of a local airport, and I was always looking up. I never really thought one day that I'd be the guy sending those airplanes up and do their mission. It's really rewarding. It's a lot of hard work, but there's a lot of satisfaction at the end of long days.
Believe it or not, yes, I'm standing here at the recruiting booth where, yes, interviews are being held today with folks who stop by. Preliminary job offers are being made to qualified candidates. Now, you don't necessarily need a college degree to serve your country. With nearly 11,000 employees, 98 unique job skills, and millions of square feet of industrial floor space to work with, this is Tinker Air Force Base.
We have our own infrastructure. We have everything from the buildings and the maintenance and everything from the aircraft to the people that are working on the aircraft.
Maintenance to aircraft like the AWACS, B-1 bomber, and the KC-46 refueling tanker is the primary focus here. However, it takes thousands of other positions to make this mission a successful one.
You don't have to be an aircraft mechanic. We would love to see those folks. But if you're a diesel mechanic, or if you're an engine mechanic, or there are things that you've done with air conditioning ducts and things like that, we can turn you into an aircraft mechanic.
Thousands of positions a year are filled by candidates outside the base. For many jobs, a college degree is not required.
For the most part, the rest of our jobs that we have out here, there are no degree requirements. Most of it revolves around your experience levels.
Yes, the pay is competitive. Government benefits are great, as is the opportunity for career growth. But what money can't buy here is the feeling of patriotism.
There are careers that come with a sense of pride and a sense of fulfillment, and I think that's what you get here in this environment.
Amazing things are happening here at the air show. Recruiters are going to be on standby for both Saturday and Sunday throughout the duration of the air show. Do want to check in with Rodney, though, and see how things are going. Rodney, you're talking to a lot of good folks today.
We have talked to a lot of great folks today, and it's really great to see them in this environment right here in our backyard. And so we've been able to chat with folks, and we've got a lot of folks with some good experiences that we've been able to see today. And I think it's going to lead us in their direction, and maybe them coming this way too.
There's a lot of fascinating stuff that happens behind the gates from the outside here on base, and there's a spot for everybody.
There really is. I mean, we have jobs specifically in the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex. We have jobs across the board. What we're really looking for are engineer types, cyber, any type of IT, and then we're looking for the aircraft mechanics and our people that are mechanically inclined.
Yeah. Where can I go if I want to look at job openings or apply?
Well, your best bet is to use our QR code. We're here in the hangar. You can come over, hit your smartphone on the QR code, and drop your resume right there on the spot. We hire under what's called direct hire authority, so we don't hire under the USA Jobs, which is a little different for people.
Yeah, I like it, Rodney. We'll see what happens after the air show. You never know. Someone might find a new career.
We're sure hoping so.
Yeah, all right, awesome. Back to you. It has been an exciting air show here for the 2023 Tinker Air Show, 4 years in the making. Bombs are going off behind me here. Somebody I do want to introduce you to, however, is a brand new member at Tinker Air Force Base. This is Tink. Tink is a horned lizard, a maintainer at Tinker Air Force Base. How are things going so far? Yeah, Tink's got all of the moves, as you can see. Tink comes to work with the wrench, locked and loaded, ready to go here. You've been doing a lot of community outreach this whole week, talking to students, getting to work with the Blue Angels. That was exciting, right? Oh yeah. We're having a lot of fun here at Tinker Air Force Base. If you do see Tink running around, make sure to say hi. Always down for a picture, Tink is. So feel free, stop by, take a picture, get on a Facebook Live, the Instagram, you name it. Back to you.